Hi, I'm Michelle Blue. I'm a millennial entrepreneur and started a business just 2 weeks after I graduated college. It's my life and I don't even know. Okay, each week I'm interviewing an entrepreneur, getting a real look at their stories, the lessons, the sacrifices along their journey.
And leadership is hard, and you have to live at home, and entrepreneurship is not easy.
Truly walk by faith and not by sight, and your life being a direct reflection of that belief system.
So, for the fellow entrepreneur, hopeful entrepreneur, or whatever path you decided to take in life, just know that the beauty lies within the journey.
Watching?
The journey.
All right, I'm going to be watching. All right.
Antoine. They were on last person. So I always get these male duos. That look good. Okay, super cool. So guys, I think you all hold a special place in my heart because, and I start from the very beginning. So Eric, I saw you at Wesley Chapel, post office, and we both had bags and boxes in our hands. And I was shipping off orders for Benet, and I was like, well, who else would be shipping off a ton of stuff? So I was like, oh, do you have a business? What do you do? I was like, oh yeah, I have this travel blog. We sell shirts, Black and Abroad. And I was like, oh, dope. So we just casually connected.
Yes.
And then a couple weeks later, we were going to Africa because our first group of girls were graduating. And you were like, oh, this is cool. Any way we can help, let us know. And you all this is true genuine hearts, genuine souls, because you all sent gifts for our girls in Ghana. And so I think it's always when you give something to someone's children, it's it touches them so much differently. And the fact that we didn't even know you guys, I was
Yeah.
that's real. That's
Yeah.
staying true. That's actually having a heart behind what you do, because that didn't make you all any money. Y'all were just this is good work, we're going to be a part of it. But I would love to hear more, because Black and Abroad is this amazing platform, and you all are transforming travel for Black people in general, right?
Yes. Like we started in April of 2015, and since the beginning, our mission has been explore the world, embrace different cultures, and empower the community. That empower piece was what you guys were doing, you know, exploring the world, embracing the cultures, and then you went back to empower those girls of Ghana. So when we saw that and we connected, it was it was that law of attraction that we talked about earlier. It's an instant trajectory that we both were on.
Yeah.
We work with other companies like yourself to do the same thing, but our initial focus was to basically find a way to connect or be the nexus between the Black traveler and the rest of the world. So we do that through our platforms, social media platforms, our content. We work on the back end. What a lot of people don't know, we work with tourism boards. We do consultant work for major airlines and hotels around the world. And since then, we've seen not the change that we probably would have wanted to see, but we're definitely starting to see shifts in certain things. For example, when you go on Google and you Google Black travel now, 3 years later, since we started, there's so many more results that populate, as a result of our efforts and things that we've been doing.
So why Black travel? What was it that you were this is a space, this is an opportunity here, this is a need here? What was it about Black travel specifically where you're okay?
Well, I mean, for us, it's a space of comfort. We're Black.
There you
That's
go.
one thing.
We're Black.
But we wanted to do things for our community, and we wanted it to be organic, and authenticity was key for us. So why not tell the story, or at least one part of the story? Because we can't tell the entirety of Black existence, but we can open up the space for other people to be able to do so. And in talks that we had before we created Black and Abroad, we agreed that we knew that Black people traveled the world. We saw them in our individual travels. So why can't we amplify, that knowledge that we had and make other people aware of it, and then bring that comfort. Comfort comes from awareness.
Right.
If you see other people that look like you across the world doing things that you didn't think possible, now they all of a sudden become a possibility. We wanted to have that awakening for people to see all of these possibilities that they didn't necessarily knew or know existed at that point in time. We wanted to be the space for awareness in that
Right.
sense.
I think it's important to debunk the myth that Black people are just traveling, because that's not the case.
Right.
We have been traveling. I mean,
Have
I
been.
was really fortunate in middle school. Like, I went on this like month trip through Europe to like Italy, Austria, Germany, Switzerland, France, like crazy, before it became a trending thing.
Right.
But obviously, it just wasn't visual. Like, it wasn't in the forefront of seeing us. Why do you think that stigma came about? That Black people don't travel.
I think it's advertising. When you looked at the marketing and anything related to travel, you just didn't see people of color. Period. Black people, brown people, you just didn't see that. You saw them as like background in those things, or almost it's like tragedy porn in a lot of cases with travel. You would see, you know, a lot of white travelers on trips, and they would go to destinations like South Africa, but you wouldn't see the South Africa that we're able to showcase.
Right.
So for people in our community looking at those advertisements, you didn't see that for you. You know, it just was never there. Companies just assumed that we didn't have the money, or if we did, we weren't spending it on those experiences.
Right.
But the bottom line shows that's
Different.
Yeah, the complete opposite of truth. So yeah, I think it started there. The fact that we just didn't see ourselves magnified in advertising led our community and other communities to believe that we didn't travel. We knew individually that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Right, and I think it's really, I mean, you all are definitely transcending a lot of things, because you all have the blog and, you know, Instagram where you all showcase, but you all have like gone into different spaces. You have like transcended into political arenas. And I didn't even know this. Y'all said y'all spoke at the UN,
Yep.
the United Nations. Like, first of all, I'm sure you all didn't see that coming. Like, when you all first started this business, you could have never imagined, like, oh yeah, we're gonna like talk to the most powerful leaders in the world about Black people traveling. Like, right? What was the significance of that? What was the messaging that you all were able to deliver in that?
That was actually my favorite part of it, because when we got the invite, it was, okay, so we have a choice here. Do we, go in there and be nice about the issue? Or
Yeah,
do we
nice for what?
Right.
Nice for what?
And that was the other
Nice
option.
for what?
So we were like, no, we're going to be unabashed about how we feel about the lack of diversity and inclusion, or the fake diversity and inclusion in travel. And we really hit the nail on the head. Like, one of the things I remember saying clearly to that audience was, diversity is not putting a brown face on a white experience. Like, you need to appreciate the culture differences and bring something that's organic to the market you're trying to target,
Right.
so that they feel like they're actually being recognized for whatever spending power that they have. Because we know that in cases like that, when the Black community is marketed to, and they feel like they're marketed to organically and authentically,
genuinely.
they'll spend like $200 more than they normally would for an experience, just off of that, just off of appreciating people.
Right.
So we really went in on it. We were like, why not ask a Black person to come into the room when
Right.
you're having these conversations?
To be at these agencies creating the marketing
right.
campaigns.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that would help.
you could tell it was a conversation that needed to take place on a platform where it needed to take place. These people were so receptive to what we were saying, and the messaging that we were putting out. After the talk that we did, I mean, we had everyone coming to learn more. And,
Right.
we're still in touch with a lot of those leaders today. They hit us up. We actually have something. We're working on a project with Botswana right now.
Wow.
It started there. So, there's a lot that stemmed from it, and I think that one of the things that my favorite part was the fact that a lot of these companies, they do the performative diversity. So It's like a performative act of diversity just to fill their quota.
Right.
You know, and it didn't feel like that because we're still working on these projects from 2 years ago almost.
Right.
So
Very cool. I think one thing for me, so obviously when I was in college, I went on a study abroad trip to Ghana, which was life-changing experience, right? And when I got back, my mom, she asked me a million questions because this is just like what Virginia does. And I was like, oh, I don't have anything else for you. But then I was like, you know what? Like, I walked away, I told her, I said, I walked away that much more aware, you know? And then as I allowed that to resonate, I said, okay, well, now I have the awareness. What do I do with it? Because it's great to see it and to, you know, be exposed to the cultures, but it's like, I wanted to figure out what was my place. How could I help? How could I contribute? And that was really the birth of Benet, right? Yeah. So now we have a luxury gifting company and we sponsor education programs in Ghana. So we support the tuition, book supplies, and uniforms for the girls to go through school. Now expanding to Jamaica and SAT prep classes here in the States. But have you all heard any stories of like some of your travelers where they went to a place and they expected just like to chill out, have fun, like take it all in, but stepped away with a new sense of awareness that propelled them to act, to propel them to do something and make some type of contribution and change to that country?
Yeah, we try to incorporate it in all of the trips that we do in some way, shape, or form. So we tell people that when we bring you to a location, we're not just bringing you to a party and turn up. Like, we want you to really feel at one with this location and walk away feeling like you've left a pound of flesh.
Right.
You know, you've done some work here, you've left an impact. So we've really worked hard to incorporate that into our trips, whether it's, you know, the knowledge that we give to them that, hey, we're supporting Black businesses this entire day on this trip. Or, you know, we came here specifically because this company does a project with the community. We did that in Colombia. Our tour provider, who's a Afro-Colombian, he also, for his community, runs a community center. So for a part of that trip, we had some of our trip people go to his community center, and we brought things for them as well so they could get a sense of what it feels like to be a part of that community, talk to the children and the adults, help them with like learning English and you know, answering any questions about what it means to live in America now versus 4 years ago.
Right.
So those kind of moments that have more of the impact of, oh, I just sent some money to the Red Cross. You know? Those are the stories that people go home with and they tell their friends, and now their friends have now sparked an interest to want to go and do something similar.
Right.
And the way we incorporate it, it doesn't feel like it's forced. We want people to generally enjoy the fact that they're getting to be immersed in this kind of moment, in this international community that is still a home for them.
Right.
You know?
Right. I think also something that's really great is that, first of all, you all are experiencing the country, right? And what are some of the trips that you all have coming up? I think.
So we have Johannesburg in December.
Johannesburg.
We have Cartagena. We're going back to Cartagena in February, the end of February. And then you guys are getting the scoop on this. But
Inside scoop. Here we go. Journey with Blue exclusive.
Yes.
Drop it.
In a couple of weeks, we'll be announcing that our next destination is Senegal. We'll be taking a group to Dakar. So that is scheduled for the end of March.
Okay. And like I said, the importance of experiences. So I just got back from Jamaica 2 days ago. And it was a resort. It was a destination wedding. Cool. But last year I went to Jamaica and I spent 2 weeks there with my best friend and her family. So we did like Jamaica, right? And so I think it's really interesting because a lot of times when people travel, they travel and go to a resort. And I'm like, you don't know anything. Like, you weren't immersed. You weren't like, you didn't see the people. You didn't see how they move. You don't see how they dance, how they speak, the food that they eat for real. Yeah. And so that's why I think also that's a great element that you all add to people, because sometimes people want to travel, of course, and they want to have those experiences, but they don't know how. So you all are like making it easy. Like, You know,
Okay.
you curate the full experience. I just walk into it and enjoy and learn from it. So I think that's really important. Again, when we think about travel, it's like, are we going to sit on a resort? I'm not saying I have to be like uncomfortable in a tent or something, but I want to see, I want to feel the culture, you know? I want to feel that I'm in Jamaica and not like, I could have been in Myrtle Beach for all I know on a resort.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important when we also speak around travel is that we're also
Immersive.
we're so immersed in it. You know, that's how you really grow through these
Yeah.
experiences. But very cool. Okay, this is my last point because I'm like, this bothers me as well with when it comes to African American travel. So when I first came up with that, well, when I first decided that I wanted to go to Africa for my study abroad trip, I got so much backlash. You know,
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Why do you want to go to Africa?
That
Like,
happens.
you know, like why don't you want to go to Europe? Why don't you want to do that?" I was like, "I already did that. I want to go to. This is where you know I'm from. I want to travel the world, no matter where." But how do we debunk some of the stereotypes of traveling to Africa? And I think specifically within our community, we shun it a little bit more. Why is that, and how do we move past that?
Well, I mean, I think we're doing it now with just celebrating our similarities. There are a lot of tests, that's the genealogy tests that people are taking now that are like connecting them back to where they were beyond slavery, because a lot of us don't know our history beyond that.
Right.
So heritage trips are one way. Just highlighting through social media some of the dope things that you can do in Africa, and not just safari, but there's the Seychelles where you can go kick it on
Yeah.
the beach. You know, there's Mozambique. You know, there's so many different parts that we're still discovering as a company. Senegal.
Yeah.
So just highlighting those dope moments and showing them that you can have that same, because, you know, we love to go to the beach. We love beach travel, Caribbean travel, Jamaica, Aruba, and all. You can have those same experiences in, you know, Mozambique, in the places that I mentioned earlier, Cape Town.
Yeah.
So it's just highlighting that and showing that there's the same thing and more in the continent.
Right.
And the access, like it's super easy to get there now. I think it's been a weird, so just being on this from the inside, we noticed that in working with the tourism boards, there's certain stigmas that have been assigned to certain places by the powers that be. So, for example, a lot of people branded the city of Joburg as unsafe, right? That is, and we've learned from the inside that was it was a chess move to get less people to go to Joburg to come to Cape Town, which Cape Town is majority white. So
Interesting.
yeah, so get your money and come spend it with us. Joburg
All
is dangerous.
politics.
All politics. So you know, a lot of us over here, black people, you know, we're kind of looking at it from a standpoint of, because a lot of us don't necessarily know the inner workings of it. We just go by what we hear. Word of mouth is the most powerful marketing tool since the beginning of time. So hearing that Joburg is dangerous, I'm not going to want to go there. I'm going to want to skip over Joburg, where all the black people are, to go to Cape Town. So, you know, us as a company, one of the things we do is to help to dispel those myths and
Right.
rumors, and that's what we're doing with Joburg by hosting these trips there annually and showing people that it's not dangerous. It's
Right. It's not dangerous.
Yeah, it's what you heard from somebody who probably heard it from somebody else. So
It's like if you have lived in a metro city before, like if you live in New York, you know how to have your wits about you. You
Right.
have your same wits. I have the same wits if I'm in Paris, or if I'm in Joburg, or if I'm in Bangkok. Like I have those same kind of antennas going off. So use your good sense. And we tell people all the time, like, you know, when you look at travel reviews on like a TripAdvisor or a Yelp, look at the person who's giving the review, because a lot of times they may not have your cultural history or appreciation for certain things. So things that they may, you know, have their attendance go up as something to be fearful of is something that you see every day and you don't think twice about.
Exactly.
So, and then like for us, when, like Eric said, when we really started digging into like numbers and marketing, we would see that, you know, Africa may be portrayed a certain way, but 30% of Europe is going there every year. So they know that
Right.
there's a value in traveling to Africa, but they may not be portraying that for us to come to. So, this is why we see things now as, certain countries going there and setting up shop, because they have been able to explore that value unopposed and without anybody else coming there to pick up on it for years.
Right.
And now we're starting to pick up on it. Now they're trying to hurry up and get things up and running. But yeah, once you really start to dig into it and get exposed to certain things, you're like, wait a minute.
Let me tell you, before I went to, to Ghana the first time, my uncle made me sit down and watch Taken. Right, so it's Stream.
Which was in Europe, right?
Yeah, so it's like the irony of it all.
The irony, I should have told him. I'm like, Uncle Clint, that makes no sense.
That's like Paris.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's really important to have platforms like Black and Abroad, who obviously show us digitally, in marketing campaigns, but also, takes us and puts us in these spaces and allows us to see the people, to see the world from a different lens. And I think that just transforms you in a completely different way when you can see the world, right? It's so much greater than Atlanta, so much greater than staying within 285,
Right.
I think it changes what you think is possible.
Yeah, it does.
I think that's the key thing. And also sharing that with our kids younger is like, I'm so grateful for my experience from traveling when I was young. And so that has completely, shaped me into thinking I can do anything. Like, I've seen the world, basically. So it's such an important work. You think about, it's just Black travel, but
No, it's more than that.
it's much more than
It's
that.
travel that just so happens to be Black.
There you go.
And like you said, just that younger generation. I have nieces and nephews that I have stories to tell every time I come back home for the holidays. They're just sitting there like eager to know how how the experience was. Were they lions and were they tigers, and it's just to be able to tell them and see that spark of curiosity
Right.
is just something, because later when they get old enough to travel, they're gonna want to see for themselves.
Yeah.
And luckily I'll be able to tell them where to go. So it's amazing to see that.
And it really only takes one. It really only takes one family member to like spark that light in someone's, in our younger siblings, younger cousins' brains, and see more and more and want more. So I think that's great.
Yeah, we all got to work to make it normal. Make
Yeah.
it not something that's a shock anymore. That you've been here and you've been there, and I mean for me, I'm just in awe sometimes, especially when I go to places where we are in abundance. Like I tell people all the time, there's shades of Blackness that you haven't even seen yet.
We are on every continent.
And
Every continent.
And that's not just in tone, but in like experience and in culture. Like there's so much about you that you haven't even been able to experience yet.
I literally just said that, and this is kind of a sidetrack, but I literally just told Terry, I said, just sitting in Harlem, you see so many shades of Blackness, so many ideologies, so many different religions. Like, it's fascinating. We're not one monolithic anything.
No.
Anything. So I think that's really important to share. Very cool. Okay, I always close out, guys, because I'm like, y'all are traveling, y'all are on the plane, y'all are like cranking out this work. I'm like, what is one like rap lyric or song that you're like, oh, okay, like I'm about to like conquer through the day, I'm about to like kill it type of situation. Give me one lyric that gets you going.
For me,
lyric. You got it.
For me, it's Jay-Z's line from "In Words in Paris," where
In words.
where he says, "We're not even supposed to be here." Like I kind of keep that in my mindset when I go to
That's such a
certain
good one. I received that one.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it's like as long as we're here, we might as well ball out. Like we might as well do whatever greatness it is that we're supposed to do, since we've made it to this place that we weren't supposed to be, or someone decided what we're supposed to be for.
Right.
So that's
had other
mine.
plans.
Yes.
Right. Well, mine is the rap lyric. I'm gonna take y'all back to the 70s.
Okay, here we go.
Donny Hathaway, 1973. He has this. I think it's "Someday We'll All Be Free." But the line that I like is the first opening to the song is like, "Hang on to the world, as it spins around. What do you say? Don't let the spins get you down. And that's just, my grandfather used to play it all the time, back to back. So it always plays in autopilot in my mind. But just those words are so powerful because the world's going to keep changing. It's going to keep changing for the better, for the worse.
Yeah.
There may be wars, there may be, peace during some periods, but you always have to hang on to what it is that you're trying to do and make it a better place. And I got to get all philosophical on y'all right now. But no, seriously, those lines really keep me grounded as far as just the change.
Yeah.
The only thing constant is change. So I hold those words near and dear.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, y'all are near and dear. Because like I said, that's real. Nothing but love. Nothing but pure, genuine hearts. For you, y'all didn't know me. You saw me on Wesley Chapel. You had no clue. At the post office.
We both had our big boxes.
And I'm just the type of person who will talk to everybody in the post office, But I really appreciate that. That's like real love, and that's genuine character. And you don't get that every day in life. You don't get that every day in business. So. Love what y'all are doing. Thank you guys. This was so great. So great. Appreciate it. I hope you were inspired by this conversation on The Journey with Blue. Join me on Facebook and Instagram and subscribe on YouTube to continue the encouragement. And remember that whatever road you decide to take, the beauty lies within the journey. Until next time, Blue.